This is our latest Helderburg named Serette. We built it for Katie. She's a true car enthusiast. This will be one of her collection. And she had 3 special requests. I'm going to tell you about those requests and even more. Katie's first request was the color. We talked about white, and I absolutely got excited about the white, and I talked about magnolia white, arctic white, but she said, no, I want a bright white with no metallic, and just want it to be bright white. Hence, bright white, which is just luxurious, it's glamorous, it just works in all situations. So her second request was the interior. She wanted diamond stitch, but she wanted it done in a different way, which you can definitely see the difference if you look for it, but if you're not looking for it, you probably won't notice it. And what I mean is the center panels are all diamond stitch, but there's no diamond stitch on the side bolsters. And the third thing she wanted, which was probably the most important thing to her, actually I think they were all important, but I'm going to tell you, Katie is also a Porsche enthusiast, and she wanted power. Well, that's what we did. We gave her the power. We did our special Helderburg Performance Tuned 300 TDI, and it has some unreal internals and some other workings in there too that makes this, well, makes Serette really move down the road at a swift pace. There's something sophisticated, luxurious, and quite honestly, highbrow when it comes to a white Helderburg. Let's just talk about whites. Before I get into the details of talking about Serette, by the way, that's the name, Serette of this D90, and you can read the story of Serette on helderburg.com, so do that. But let's talk about the color white. When a prospective client calls me and we're talking about colors and they mention white, I'm going to tell you, I do get excited. Just for the simple fact there is so many various whites, shades of whites. This one is a nice bright white, very vibrant, bright. If it's in the snow, it looks white. If it's in the shade, it looks white. If it's in the sun, it is blindingly white. So white is an interesting color. But then if you look at Draco, which is on helderburg.com, that is a magnolia white, which is just a beautiful white. And then if you look at Maxim, that is an Arctic white, which has a blue undertone. And then if you look at some of the other builds we've done in the past, there's even metallic whites. But you can see all of these on the website. But just white in general. And you know, there's those times that you remember things in your life when you've been exposed to something. And me in particular, I remember the first time that I really noticed a white car was many years ago, and I had to have a white car. And of course, I ended up having a white car, and it had a dark blue soft top on it, which was also some inspiration of some builds. But there's just something clean and elegant, and it just works when it comes to white. I know I'm harping on white, but white can be luxurious, but it can also be an adventure vehicle too. So let's get into the details of Serette. Of course, you'll notice the Helderburg headlight surrounds are in billet aluminum, the broken beam headlights that are a staple of Helderburg, the metal German grille, and then of course on the bonnet, if you notice right here, there's these louvers, which indicate there's something special lurking under the bonnet. And yes, it's a 300 TDI, but it's not just any 300 TDI. It's a 300 TDI that we've performance tuned. It's a 300 TDI that's gone to an entirely new level, that all of the internals are different. Crankshaft is different, the pistons are different, the turbo's different, the intercooler's different, the exhaust system, all different. The injection system, different. Everything on it is different. And it not only pulls like a billy goat, but it will move down, it will boogie down the highway. It just has a really good feel to it. You can drive highway speeds, there's no doubt, but who would want to? I mean, slow down, let people see it, let people take pictures of it, let people give you a thumbs up. But I'll tell you right now, the power plant is very special. It is mated to a 5-speed manual transmission too, but I'm going to go for a drive and I'm going to give you the details. We're going to talk about the interior. I'm going to talk about some other little special elements that we put into Serette. And before I get into all of that, the question I get a lot of times is, what is the build process? If you want to commission a Helderburg, how does that process flow? And it's really easy. It starts with a phone call. You give me a call. We talk about, what are you looking for? Is it a D90? Is it a 110? Is it a 130? And if you have no idea what body style you want, well, I can help you along that path and make some suggestions so we can decide on the body style. We talk about colors. We talk about interior. And you say, okay, great. Let's move forward. I do a build specification sheet. I send that to you. You do a 50% deposit, that locks in your build slot, and then it gives us the opportunity to slow down and talk about a one-of-one design, a design that nobody else has ever done, and maybe possibly a design we'll never do again. And then the design process is completed, we order your leather, we get all the parts in place, and when the build process starts, I start sharing pictures and videos, and I'll tell you, the clients say that is the funnest part of the experience, because they did all the research and we've already done all the talking to decide exactly what your Helderburg is going to be, and they just see it come to life. And then after it comes to life, well, then we have options, but we'll talk about that in the build process. So that's the build process, really simple, starts with a phone call. All right, with that was a mouthful. So now, let's go for a drive and let's experience how Serette drives, and I'll talk about a D90 versus a 110 and how they vary in the driving experience. So we're in Serette. I'm going to tell you what it's like to drive, but before I do that, let me tell you about how special it feels to be able to drive all these various Defenders and have different colors and work with clients. It's a great feeling. And white Defenders are really special to me because my first Defender was in fact white. And I remember the excitement. I remember doing the research, and I think a big part of the fun is doing the research too. But I remember when that white Defender showed up. Definitely was nothing like this. I mean, it was rusty, it was ugly, it had carpet on the headliner, or for a headliner, but all the same, I really enjoyed it, and I drove it everywhere. I mean, I did lighthouses through Maine and New Hampshire, I did Vermont. I went everywhere, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's what started this crazy obsession that I have, was that Defender, because I love the looks of it. I love the story behind it. I love what it stood for. I loved how people reacted to it. I just loved everything about it, except I didn't really like to drive it. It wasn't a lot of fun to drive. It was underpowered. It didn't stop well. It was rusty. It was noisy. When it rained, I would get wet. When it was cold outside, I would freeze. When it was hot, I would sweat. You get the point. And that's what started my mad passion to say, all right, I'm learning all of the known issues of a classic Land Rover, and I set out to fix them all. Hence, Helderburg was born. And Serette is a 90, and we've built a lot of them over the years now. And we just get better and better and better. And clients tell me often that, they go and they look at other builders and they drive their Defenders, and then they come and they drive a Helderburg, and they say we set the benchmark. There is no mistaking a Helderburg that is top tier. We set the benchmark, and I appreciate that. And I'm not being boastful or anything. I don't take that lightly. It humbles me, and I think it's a wonderful thing because I have poured everything into it, and this is my life. So now let's talk about Sorette and how it drives. Sorette is a D90. I built it for Katie. She's a true car enthusiast. She has several other cars, and I keep on telling her she has to send me some pictures of her car collection. She teases me. She sends one here, one there, that type of thing. But working with her has been great, and she said she needs a 110 next, and I'm excited about that because she's saying it's going to be green exterior, green interior, so I'm really happy about that one, of course. She had some request interior, engine, and color, which we fulfilled. But let's just talk about the engine. I'm going to turn around here in the driveway and talk about some power. Well, first thing before I do that, let's just talk about the turning radius. So I'm sitting at the end of the driveway, and I'm going to make a U-turn. And people do ask about turning radius, so here we go. Let's see how easy it is. Full turn, and didn't even need the entire driveway to make complete U-turn. Now let's talk about power. Give it some gas. Gets up pretty quick. It is a turbo diesel, does not require diesel exhaust fluid, but it is a performance tune. It's our 2.8 liter, meaning it has custom internals, custom injection pump, custom exhaust system. But it just drives well. Steering, two fingers you can steer it. That's how easy it is. It just is easy to manage. And then it does have the 5-speed manual transmission. So let me come to a stop here. And I'm going to put it in first, which again, you can shift really easy, and just feeling the gears. It has a short shift is what it does, and it just kind of feels like it's in a gate the way it locks in. I'm going to let off the clutch easily and just give it a little bit of fuel. Now I'm off the clutch, I'm off the gas, no feet on the pedals, and that's how easy it is. So this is a manual transmission, and the vast majority of my clients do a manual transmission, even ones that have never driven a manual. We're able to teach them how to drive a manual in a matter of about 5 minutes, because if you've ever tried to drive a manual in the past, you know how jerky it can be and everything, and you're like, oh, I can never learn how to do that. Well, we've done a lot of work to the clutch, and it's very easy. It's a soft depressed clutch. And if you're in stop and go traffic, you see how easy this is. And then I can slow it down just by, I'm stepping on the brake, I'm slowing it down, and it's lugging, and then now I'm off the brake, traffic's moving, I give it some gas, we go, and then I let off again, step on the brake. I'm not stepping on the clutch, I'm just using the brake. So that's manual transmission, and the beauty of that is all the work we've done to it. But we do offer an automatic transmission too, just so you know. And drivetrains, engine-wise, I have 3 different variants. When it comes to a 300 TDI, let me rephrase that, two different variants, the 200 TDI, 300 TDI, sorry. Oof, so many engines, all these TDIs. But anyway, we have our performance tuned 300 TDI, and then we have our one that's even more performance tuned, where the internals just get really interesting. And you can drive highway speeds, you can take it on a trip, you can do whatever you want to do. And then I have another turbo diesel, which is with a computer, and it's crazy fast, unreal. Road trips, do whatever you want with it and everything. And then, of course, we do offer the GM version, the V8 GM. And, of course, that does have some concerns in that sense. We generally do that for California. And the concerns being that that engine runs so hot, you can feel the heat in the cabin. And that's the way it is regardless of who builds it. But you feel the heat in the cabin. Yeah, you got the sound, you got the speed and all that. And then if you're in a warm climate, that can be a concern, because on a Corvette, that engine has 32 heat exchangers to be able to dissipate the heat. And on a Defender, the grill's so small, you can do fan packs and all that. It's still going to be an issue. So, but we do offer it on that note. But the turbo diesel is a beautiful thing. And for the simple fact that you don't have any tune-ups, 28, 32 miles per gallon versus the V8. The V8's an easier process too. The motor shows up on a crate and it gets dropped in, and you get about 8 to 10 miles per gallon. So it can get a little tedious just having to stop and fill up all the time. So another U-turn here. And let's talk a little bit about steering. Again, I already mentioned 2 fingers. That's how easy it is. So does it drive like a truck? No, it drives like a modern SUV. You turn the steering wheel, the vehicle turns. There's no planning ahead. And if you're going around a turn, and then when you come out of the turn, the steering wheel automatically comes back, rotates back. So it makes it a very easy process. 90 versus a 110, question I'm asked a lot. And the simple answer is just go with the body style that speaks to you the most. If you like the looks of the 90, get the 90, or if you like the looks of the 110, go with the 110. If you have a large family and that's a concern, well, just know that generally people are going to want to sit in the cargo area of the 110 just for the nostalgia. So if you think they're going to be in the second row of a 110, probably not so much, unless you really do have a large family, meaning like 5 people in your family, not counting the driver and the passenger, that is. So going over bumps, yeah, a 110, you are going to be able to feel it's going to be a little more of a plush ride just because the wheelbase is 20 inches longer in a 110. And if you like the body style of a 110, but you also like the idea of a soft top, well, we can do a soft top 110. We can do a soft top 110 in a 4-door or a 2-door, and then a soft top D90 is always, you can't go wrong with that. All right, it's time to talk about interior, but before I get into the interior of Serette, I want to really talk about interior, because this is something I get really excited about. In fact, you've heard me say this before, that you go to a nice restaurant and they show you the dessert platter really early before you even eat your main course. And that's the way I feel about interior. And what I mean by that is when I'm talking to a prospective client, I get a brief idea of exterior color, but then I start diving into the interior for the simple reason that we have options. We have lots of options. And so we have the patina look, which this is so much fun, choosing interior colors. And so there's that one, and then more options, more colors. Ooh, look at this one. I like this one. Hint, hint, hint. And then it continues on, more options, and More options. So any color you can imagine. Ooh, I like this one too. Look at that one. Okay, but anyway, any color you can imagine, yes. But let's talk about Katie's interior on Serette. So there's some subtle changes than what you will see on any other Helderburg. And I just really like to just stand here and touch this leather, because this is a leather you really need to see in person. You need to feel it, touch it, sit in it, because it's amazing how pliable it is. In fact, this interior brought back memories for me that when I was a young man, I used to ride my bike to this dealership called USI Motors in Knoxville, Tennessee. And the dealer principal, the guy that owned the dealership, his name was Mehdi. And I remember when I turned 16 and I went up there, and I would just go and look at the cars. And that's all I would do. I would ride my bike and just oogle over the cars. And I remember Mehdi coming out, "Hey, Paul, how are you?" And I'm like, "Great, Mehdi, how are you?" And they had this white Lotus, bright white like this, and it had an interior just like this. Are you seeing the inspiration? And just, I remember touching the interior. I never got into his cars. I would touch the interior though, and how pliable it is. And there's something about that leather that was in a Lotus back in the day, a Lotus Esprit, by the way, that just how sensual it is. And Mehdi said, "So you just had your 16th birthday?" I was like, "Yes, sir, I did." He said, "Do you have your driver's license yet?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, I got my driver's license." And he said, "I'll be back." He went to the dealership, he came back and he brought the keys and he goes, "You've been looking at this Lotus for a while, I want you to take it for a drive." And I was like, "I can't do that, I can't do that. There's no way I can afford to buy this. I don't have any money or anything else." He's like, I get it, I understand. Take it for a drive." I remember that like it was yesterday, and just for him to do that. But I just remember driving really slow. I don't think I ever got over 20 miles an hour because I was afraid something would happen. But just feeling it and dreaming of one day. And this 90, this Helderburg 90 reminds me a lot of that Lotus. All right, so interior-wise, if you look at the diamond stitch and what we've done on this, and this was by Katie's request, she didn't want any of the diamond stitch to be on the sides of the bolsters. She just wanted the diamond stitch to fill in the entire center panels. And I like this design. I like the way it came out, but the seats are super comfortable. The best way to explain the color, I'm just going to say it's a buckskin. I think that's the best way to describe it. But as I'm standing here looking at it right now, and I can see the grain that's in this leather. I mean, it's almost a smooth leather, but you can see the grain. It reminds me of a Chesterfield sofa also. And it's exquisite. It complements the steering wheel, the wood steering wheel, which I do love wood steering wheels, by the way. And then all of the billet aluminum switches, it just really brings it out. And then with the headliner, I wanted to go with a little lighter of a headliner because I could have matched it to the leather, but that would have just been simply too much in my opinion. So I went with a lighter color Alcantara suede up here, and it just, the way it pulls it all together is just beautiful. So that's the interior. But again, this is probably one of the most exciting parts. Well, no, actually the color. Well, actually, the two of them make it a total package. So if you have any questions about Serette, then just leave a comment below or send me a text, whatever it is. My mobile is easy to find. But I want to use this part of the video to do some quick fires. And what I mean by that is I want to answer some of those common questions that I get a lot of times. So I'm just going to kind of run through it really quick. So first thing is, who's going to maintain it? Easy answer. You don't need to take it to a Land Rover dealership. You have an independent European mechanic that's in your town. Every town has one or several. The vehicle's really easy to work on. Essentially, all you do is change the oil about every 3,000 miles, and that's about it. So if something was to happen, it's that independent European mechanic, the guy that owns the shop. That's who you would work with. Or you just call us, we pick it up, we bring it back. So there's a quick fire on that. Insuring. Yeah, it's just like any other vehicle being let's just say a used vehicle. You can insure it Allstate, State Farm, it doesn't make a difference. Or you can use Hagerty if you want a replacement all perils, all risk policy. Registering it, yes, you can register it in all 50 states. Again, it's just like a pre-owned vehicle when it comes to that you won't run into any issues with that. So yes, you can drive it on any road in the US and it's fun to drive. Do they do well off-road? Do extremely well off-road. I have individuals that say, well, do I really need the big tires? And it's like, no, you don't need them, but if you want them, you can have them, because really it's part of the stance, part of the look. Do we offer automatic transmissions? Yes. Do we offer GM V8? Yes, we do. Can you choose any paint color? Yes, you can. Can you choose an interior color? Yes, you can. And is there a lot of little modifications that you can make? Yeah, if you can think it, we can build it. So whatever you want, we can design that for you. Other questions I have. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a simple vehicle. It's a lot of fun to drive. You can take it on road trips. You can tow with it. You can flat tow it behind an RV. Can you get it in a soft top? Yes. Can you get it in a hard top? Yes. But can you get one where you pull the soft top on and put a hard top on? And the simple answer is no, not really. There's tops out there, but the hard top just doesn't fit and it will leak. You'll get water inside the cabin, so it doesn't work as well. The soft top doesn't leak water. It does well. And so that's kind of it. Can you daily drive it? Absolutely, you can daily drive it, and I encourage you to do so. And I have a number of clients that do daily drive that put, anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000 miles a year on their Helderburg. So I think that's it. If I left anything out, again, I'm easy to track down. Just ask your question. Happy to help. But I will tell you, owning a Helderburg, it's not about the specifications. I mean, it definitely has all the specs, but it's about the lifestyle, and it's about how it makes people smile, and it's about how it makes you feel when you get to drive it, and you will just start making excuses to drive it. Oh, don't worry, honey, I'll go to the grocery store because I'll get to drive my Helderburg.